You pay the deposit first and transfer half of money to me before the exams. When I get out of the exam room, you pay me the rest.
Money is not a problem. As long as they can take the exam for me, you can name the price.
It's exam time for the more than 1 million students studying at Australia's universities. Throughout the semester, we've been following the progress of some of these students. We've met people working really hard to earn their degrees honestly. But we've also come across students who are paying big money to rort the system.
It just seemed to be something everyone's doing, and when everyone's doing it, I don't think anyone's afraid of being caught.
We have a responsibility to society and to our students, who are the ones who are going to get these degrees. They've got to be worth something.
Hi, I'm Jennifer. I am doing my master's degree in finance, and now I'm studying the BUS 5000 courses.
It's the start of semester 2 at the University of Sydney. Jennifer has been in the country for just 8 weeks. She's one of more than 80,000 Chinese students doing tertiary study in Australia and is still adjusting to life here.
其实压力特别大，上来之后就各种课程啊，就是觉得有点跟不上，然后就觉得很难适应这儿特别快的那种节奏，然后课后作业也挺多的。
One of Jennifer's subjects is BUS 5000, Critical Thinking in Business. The class can be challenging for newly arrived international students.
我从来没有上过这种学生讲，然后老师在那儿听的课。在国内，我在本科读的本科，他没有引进过这种课程。
Last semester, more than a third of students taking BUS 5000 controversially failed the subject. The university had introduced a new rule that made it a compulsory fail if a student didn't pass the final in-class exam.
我的 assignment 分数还可以，所以我觉得我的想法也是正确的。然后也没有说老师说这是个 good job。
Like many students, Eric had done well up until the final exam.
我当时的话想法，我就把这个想法应用到我的考试里面。但是我的 assignment 的结果是比较好的，但是考试结果是不好的，我也不知道到底是。这学费是4750，我需要把这门课的学费重新再交一遍。
In China, there's a phrase, kill the chicken to scare the monkey. It basically means to make an example out of someone in order to send a warning to others. In this case, the introduction of the compulsory pass on the final exam was partly aimed at sending a strong message to students about academic misconduct.
If you have a concern that maybe a written assignment might be prone to ghost cheating, one way to do it is to say, yes, but you also have to come up with the goods again in the exam and you have to pass that exam.
Australia's universities have, in the past year or so, been rocked by cheating scandals.
An independent investigation by the university found 36 students cheated by using a ghostwriting website called MyMaster to submit coursework.
Some of the country's most prestigious institutions have had their reputations tarnished.
In response, one of the country's most prestigious universities, the University of Sydney, has set up a task force to try and find out just how many students are cheating, how they're doing it, and getting away with it.
I'm Peter McCallum. I'm Chair of the Academic Board of the University of Sydney. I've been doing that role for 6 years. I suppose the most common one we come across is plagiarism, and there are good ways of detecting that, and we're putting in place some of the more technologically enabled solutions as well. Ghostwriting's probably always gone on in some ways, but we're getting a sense that it's happening on an industrial scale through websites and things like that, and we need to find ways to set assessments so that we're absolutely sure that these ideas came from the student and they haven't just been purchased.
Could there be students who are cheating who are not coming to the attention of the university because it's really hard to detect some forms of cheating?
The short answer is yes, and that's why we're putting these systems in place. We've got great practice in some faculties. Some might have perceived they don't have a problem. This is a society-wide problem. We have a responsibility to society and to our students, who are the ones who are going to get these degrees. They've got to be worth something.
Peter McCallum gives the example of a pilot flying a plane.
If you were in a plane and something went wrong, how would you feel if your pilot said, "Oh, sorry, I don't know how to deal with that problem, I cheated for that exam"?
But really, for universities, this is also about reputation. And reputation is about earning money. Money that universities say they need to keep afloat. International students pay upfront fees, bringing in close to $6 billion annually to higher education providers. But since the MyMaster ghostwriting scandal, they've been at the centre of concerns about cheating. just over a third of these international student enrolments are from China. So this is where we decided to look first. To help, I brought in someone who I knew would be able to see things from two different perspectives.
I'm Cicely Huang, a journalist from China. I'm doing my master's degree in Sydney. I work really hard on my assignments and try to complete my degree. I feel very upset when I heard people around me cheating.
Cecily and I started hitting the phones and looking around online. We wanted to know what methods students were using and how they were evading detection. It didn't take long to find something that was pretty astounding. We knew about plagiarism and ghostwriting, but this was taking things to a whole new level. Okay, so this one says guarantees distinction or above. What does he say here?
It says like the student pay after they say their school. And
so you don't even have to pay up front, you pay afterwards.
No, you pay afterwards. And then you can ask around. It seems like he got the reputation in the industry and all high quality, 6 years experience.
What we'd found were dozens of ads where people were offering to sit exams on behalf of students. The ads of these exam impersonators are quite specific. So this person is basically claiming they can sit exams at all those universities for all these subjects.
And guarantee D or above D and HD. He must have done the subject for many times and he knows how to get good score. But I think this also a little bit exaggerate because he wants to get more students to book him.
So we started chatting with some of these pens for hire. With Cecily posing as a student who needed help, we tried to arrange meetings. So we're heading into the Sydney CBD to meet Jack, who is someone who's been advertising online, saying that he can do tutoring, he says he can do assignments, but he also says he can sit exams on behalf of students. So Cecily has said that she wants to meet him to do tutoring,
Yeah.
and then we're hoping that he'll open up about the other things that he does.
I saw his photo in the WeChat. He looks like a nerd.
He's been advertising online since 2012.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it has been years. We meet him at 3 o'clock. It's probably better we get there a bit early. I'm just a bit nervous that he would say it and I don't know.
I think if you're just sitting down the whole time,
Okay.
I think it'll be fine.
Yeah.
As Cecily headed to the arranged meeting place, me and the cameraman positioned ourselves across the road.
How many exams have you taken in total?
I've done this for all unis: UTS, Sydney, Macquarie, Newcastle, Wollongong, and some other shitty universities like Top Education Institute and Holmes Institute.
How much do you charge?
For the final exams, 3,500 for one subject, Aussie dollars. You firstly pay the deposit and transfer half of money to me before exams.
Wait, when do I pay you?
You pay the deposit and money to make the fake student ID.
So here's how Jack claims he does it. After getting the fake ID card, the student checks it to make sure they're happy and pays half the money up front. On the day of the exam, he or she goes to the venue to check that Jack has actually turned up. They hang around outside, but they pretend not to know each other. The student will then watch Jack enter the exam room with all the others. Jack said that while the exam room procedure can differ slightly across campuses, the level of scrutiny is usually the same. The student ID cards are never scanned. The supervisor just checks that the photo on the card matches the person in front of them. In subjects with lots of students, no one else will know that he's a fake. And this is where it gets even more interesting.
Do you see it for men and women?
Both, men and women.
For Chinese students, Jack says he can sit for both men and women because Chinese names are not usually gender specific.
They can't tell whether it's a female or male by the Chinese name, unless you use an English name such as Anna. If so, then it's not possible.
When the exam is over and Jack leaves the room, the student pays him the other half of the money.
How about if I fail the exam?
I will only charge you $600.
If you think getting someone to sit your exams for you is unbelievable, it's just the tip of the iceberg in terms of what's on offer.
If you want me to do the full package, it would be $5,000 to $6,000.
Yep, Jack claims he can do entire subjects for you.
有人全包过吗? Has anyone bought full package?
Of course, some people even paid me to go to the class.
But their classmates would know.
Well, I go from the start.
Okay, from the first class to the last, it's always you.
I guess exam impersonators always make a good story, but I don't believe you could say it's anything more than very local incidences at the moment. There were all sorts of, dramatic suggestions, should we have fingerprinting and so forth as people go into exams. So that would be complete overkill.
What checks are currently in place in exam rooms to ensure that the person sitting the exam is actually the enrolled student?
Well, they have to produce their current ID, and it's a photo ID, and there have been cases of that being challenged. Obviously, there are probably ways you could do something fraudulent there. We need to monitor it. We've just done a thorough review of exam processes to make sure that there aren't things we're missing.
We approached the universities where Jack says he's worked as an exam impersonator. They all said academic misconduct will not be tolerated.
Is an extremely serious and possibly fraudulent act.
That we stamp out academic dishonesty.
Face penalties from receiving a fail for that assessment activity.
Has well-established systems to monitor and manage academic integrity issues.
The key to entering an exam room on behalf of someone else is being able to make a student card that passes scrutiny. We wanted to know how easy or difficult that would be, so we arranged to meet Matt Goddard, who runs a card printing business. Oh, Matt.
Hi, Elise.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Yeah, and to meet you.
Cecily.
Yeah,
nice to meet you.
Welcome in.
We basically want to put my photo on Cecily's student cards. I mean, we're basically wondering how difficult or easy that would be. Yeah.
You can see that the universities had not a bad effort at trying to make the card difficult to replicate. So you've got shaded colours in the background with the blue here. There's a very thin security film on top, but at the end of the day we can replicate that card pretty simply, just with a very simple card printer, and we can have a card that visually is almost identical. So what we've done here, Kim's just taken a photo of the card. We've uploaded into off-the-shelf software. Do you want to press print and see how it comes out? And there you go. So
yeah, not bad.
So if we wanted to spend another couple of minutes, we could just get that shade of blue spot on. But as you can see visually, come exam day, that is very, very close.
For the universities, what do you think they can do to make it more difficult for someone to get into a room and sit an exam using a fake student card?
The university would have all the data from enrolment. What you need to be able to do is extract that into a little tablet for exam day, and then as you swipe, it goes back to look at your enrolment database, and at that point you could see if a photo has been replaced.
At this point, we didn't know if what Jack had told us was true or not. It certainly wasn't cheap to hire him. So we needed to find out if there were students willing to pay for this kind of service. We needed to find someone who'd actually gone through with it.
This one is with a high payment to find someone to do finance. It's supposed to in August 6.
August this year.
Yeah.
An online search revealed a bunch of students looking for people to sit their exams. And these weren't at your no-name universities. These were students at some of the country's best schools. Of course, we wanted to meet one of them. We wanted to know what kind of person would be prepared to cheat at this level.
This is a student from Melbourne looking for someone to sit exam for industrial relations, and he apparently from Deakin University.
Cecily contacted the Deakin University student. She arranged to meet, saying she might be able to help.
We can negotiate the price. Money is not a problem, but you can't charge me too much. The price has to be reasonable. I often pay people to do exams for me, so I won't go ahead if the price is too high.
Why don't you do the exam yourself?
I don't even go to class, so how could I do the exam? To be honest, I don't want to fail. I have 6 to 7 subjects left. If this time you can find someone for me and get a good score, I will get you to take care of the rest of the exams.
Is it strict in the exam room?
Not really. As long as you get in with your student card, it will be fine. They only check your student card when you get in.
The social media accounts of this student paint a complex picture. A guy with money who likes expensive cars and travel, but also someone who initially appeared to be studying.
I failed more than 10 subjects. The university has never come to talk to me about it or given me any trouble. In first year, I did the exams myself. I failed 8 subjects, only passed 1. Now I'd rather pay people to pass the exams for me. Even if I study, I won't pass.
What's really interesting is, since 2012, this student has hired 3 different people to sit exam for him. And those people are celebrities in this industry. Their business is built on their reputation. One of the guys called Shu Zhi, and Shu Zhi not only has done the exam for him, but entire subjects from start to finish.
Since I started university, my assignments and exams were all done by Shu Zhi and the other people. Me and my friends give all our subjects to Shu Zhi, and we choose different majors on purpose. The friends I hang out with are like that. They study things like finance as they think it's easier to find exam substitutes. I can also choose the elective subjects based on what he can take. I have 3 elective subjects. I will choose whatever he asks me to choose.
After meeting the student, we were wondering, who is this mysterious exam master, Shu Zhi? Actually, it wasn't hard to find out. Shu Zhi has also been online, boldly advertising a range of services. He'd been careless about hiding his identity. I stumbled across a blog of his dating back to 2009. It shows him hanging out with friends, travelling and drinking. It says he came to Australia from Guangdong in China, and that he's a former Deakin University student. We decided to give him a call and see if he'd talk. Oh, hi, is that Shu Zhi?
Yeah.
My name's Elise. I'm a journalist with SBS Television. Is that okay if I just ask you a few questions?
Yeah.
You know, I know that you've basically been sitting exams on behalf of university students. You know, I've seen some of the advertisements you've put online. I've spoken to a student who hired you to sit an exam for him. I wanted to see if maybe you'd be willing to have a chat with us on camera.
I don't know, because maybe because I have quit the job, this job last semester.
I read on your advertisement online that you were sitting exams for people for 6 years, that you have 6 years experience. Is that true?
Okay. This is, I can't answer you this question, sorry. I will continue your question later, but I can't answer you at the moment.
He answered at least. He talked. Yeah, he didn't deny anything.
In further online chats, Shu Zhi told me that I should contact 2 other exam impersonators in Melbourne. He also confirmed that he knows of a famous exam sitter in Sydney. From the description he provided, it sounded a lot like Jack, the one we met earlier. He said these guys all have a larger share of the market than he does. Shu Zhi refused to do an on-camera interview. He then blocked me and wouldn't answer any further calls. We approached Deakin University with the allegations that students on their grounds are using exam impersonators. They refused an on-camera interview but gave us this statement.
Deakin does not tolerate cheating of any kind. Students found cheating are dealt with vigorously and face strict penalties, including expulsion. In all assessments, including exams, we constantly monitor academic integrity and we are vigilant in detection methods. Deakin refutes these anonymous allegations but will not hesitate to act if they are substantiated.
Jennifer is now halfway through the semester. She's just received the results for one of her first assignments, and it's not good.
I think maybe I'm doing worse than other people in the class. I'm a little bit ashamed to say that. I talked about it with my tutor and she recommended me to do the learning center and I registered and it helps a lot, I think.
The course and life in Australia aren't exactly as Jennifer and her Chinese friends expected.
尤其是像我们是学的是 education 嘛，然后在我们班里面基本全部都是中国学生，然后有几个韩国人，几个日本人。 所以其实 practice English 的机会特别少，
然后很多去欧洲的同学，像什么去意大利什么，他们其实老外还多一点，不
Spending time with Jennifer and her friends, it was clear that they're all struggling with English. It got me thinking, the student at Deakin University wasn't always a cheat. He had those photos from his early days in Australia, showing him studying with his study notes. It made me wonder, if your English is poor, how can you be expected to pass? And are failing and cheating somehow connected?
I started the student at risk frame in the old Faculty of Economics and Business. I got to interview a lot of failing students, and cheating and failing are very related to me. People fail for various reasons: motivation, time management, and basic skills of mathematics or language, English language. I'm Michael Payton, Dr. Michael Payton. I've been at Sydney University since 1990. I'm working both in the School of Economics and in the Faculty of Engineering. In the Faculty of Engineering, we've set up a unit of study jointly with the Centre for English Teaching and the Learning Centre, a unit of studies called Engineering Critical Thinking. We particularly target international students and local non-English speaking background students to get them up to speed on the language of critical thinking in Australia, which is English.
Basically, the idea is that while all cultures engage in critical thinking, in an Australian university, you have to be able to express your thoughts clearly in English.
As I say to academics here, go and do a degree in Chinese and see how well you can show your critical thinking in Chinese.
Several universities we spoke with say they're putting new supports in place for international students, especially those from non-English speaking countries. The idea is that this will help prevent students from failing and decrease the incentive to cheat. But the University of Sydney research into student dishonesty had some interesting findings about who's actually cheating.
There was a bit of a mythology that, it's all international students. When we actually looked at it, we found that was not really borne out at all, that the incidence of dishonesty among international students was comparable, perhaps marginally higher, but pretty well the same as for local students.
In our online searches, while we didn't find posts for exam impersonators in languages other than Chinese, we did find plenty of ads offering assignment help or ghostwriting. These were targeting most of the largest student groups here: Korean, Vietnamese, Indian, Thai, and English.
I studied at one of Sydney's top universities, both a master's degree and a bachelor degree at the same university. I guess I was having a lot of fun that semester and didn't put in the hard work I should have, so what I did was went online and looked for somebody overseas who could relatively cheaply do a finance assignment for me. So I did that. I paid a guy who was in India who did it for me. His name was Professor somebody. He apparently had a PhD in finance. I thought, why not? I could either spend dozens of hours studying really hard in a subject I'm not very interested in, or I could just pay someone for this one unit and get it passed nice and quickly.
At some point, Nick himself turned to the dark side. He went from being a customer to being a seller.
I've probably, for friends, written maybe about 15 assignments in my time studying. But I thought, these websites, why don't I join one of those and write it for people all the time? There'd be plenty of work. I never felt afraid to do it because it's something the university never spoke about, so you could see it's not something on their radar.
It's worth pointing out here that in some university courses, particularly in the humanities and social sciences, there are no final exams. A large part of the assessment is based purely on hand-in essays. So hiring someone to write your final assignment is pretty much the equivalent of hiring an exam impersonator.
The way to solve this, I think, is to harness the good intentions of the vast majority of students in creating a culture where you just don't do this sort of thing. So it's not just a detection problem, it's a culture problem, and the main thing is to get the students themselves to be the champions, because it's actually their lives and their society that it's going to affect.
While universities might claim that the cheats we've shown in this story represent only a minority of students, the fact is that these people are currently going undetected. What's clear is that this exam season, unless there are stricter procedures in place, there will be students cheating and getting away with it, including possibly the young man we met from Deakin University in Melbourne. In the weeks leading up to his final exams, he got back in touch.
He said he would like to pay double if I can find someone for him. He said 这门课我给双倍. It means he paid twice as much money as he offered before.